We're talking about dangerous holiday toys this season with Dr. Matthew Palmer, optometrist at the Southwestern Eye Center. And, you know, like I said in the open, I have been wrapping and wrapping and wrapping since before Thanksgiving. And to be perfectly honest, when I am out finding gifts for my kids, it's like I'm just so happy that I found it, and it's one thing I can check off the list that I'm not even thinking if it could be harmful. I mean, other than like the obvious stuff, but that's not the case. I mean, there's a lot of injuries that do occur with some holiday toys.
There are lots of injuries, and oftentimes it's because they're newly introduced to toys that they don't know exactly how to handle or how to necessarily be safe with.
What are some of the common injuries that take place with some of these toys that are out on the market right now?
So probably the most common is going to be a corneal abrasion, where something is projected towards the eye and hits the eye. It could be also conjunctival hemorrhages, and it could be a lot worse, like where you have iritis or other problems too, or even loss of the eye in some extents.
And I'm looking at some of these props that you brought here this morning, and I have a confession, because I have over the years purchased probably all of these things, and not even, you know, and again, taking, you know, marking it off my checklist, and again, not even thinking like, oh, well, these are Nerf like foam things. That's not going to cause any damage, but I mean, they could, couldn't they?
Yeah, you know, Lisa, these are my kids' toys, so I had to borrow it from them. And you know, a lot of people, especially if you have young boys or young girls, they have Nerf guns. And
yeah, there's wars going on in the family room and things like that, right?
Yeah, that's how the commercials exhibit them. They're full-on war, right?
Sure.
But you know, they really are fun and exciting toys, but right ages, though, that's probably the biggest key.
I think that's probably got to be the number one thing to look at, is that when you are buying something, is first of all, like, really stop and think before you purchase it, and number two, make sure that it is age appropriate. So you don't want to get something that's for 12 and older and hand it to a 4-year-old.
Most definitely.
So let's go through some of these things and some of the potential hazards or damages that these could cause.
So with the different Nerf guns, I mean, Nerf is fantastic. My wife's like, you're not going to talk about bad against Nerf. No, not at all. It's just safety. You need to make sure that the kids are playing well. You don't shoot at each other's face. You don't look down the barrel of anything, whether it's a Nerf gun or a real gun. You want to make sure that they always know how to handle it and take care of it, but also that they don't leave it out. You know, I have a 3-year-old daughter.
See, and you have all different ages. I mean, I have just, 3 one age, but you have all different ages. So what would be working for like the 10 or 11-year-old, the 3-year-old is like, oh, what's this?
Exactly, and all it has to be, if it's left cocked and she's looking at it and trying to see with that cute little pink dart, it could hit her and cause some problems. We don't want that. And
even though that it's foam, something that's light, or you see these cap guns that are out, and it's like, oh, but it's only a cap gun. But still, it's still, when it goes off, there's a little bit of smoke that the gunpowder does go off, and if you're close enough, it could hit you in the eye or somewhere else.
Yeah. Now, Nerf tends to be more of like the toy end, but airsoft is a very popular toy, although I consider them firearms, that they are out there and kids play with a lot, and they get them and they shoot these little plastic BBs, and they're not quite a full BB gun, but definitely can cause a lot of damage.
Airsoft, okay, so it's a form of a BB gun?
Yeah, it's like it. It's a little plastic BB, and doesn't shoot as fast. It's not as forceful, but it's fun for like the mid-teens, but very dangerous. That can cause significant eye problems, but it's classified in many ways as a toy, and it needs to make sure that and for airsoft or even BB gun or any firearm, they always need to have eye protection, most definitely.
And you touched upon the teens, because it's one thing to get the toys for the younger kids, but then once you get into the tween years and the teen years, then the toys or the games, things, they start to get a little bit more real, shall I say. I mean,
most
you
definitely.
Just mentioned a BB gun, and that can do damage in a lot of other places other than your eyes if not used correctly.
Most definitely.
And if you have a child who is wearing contacts and you come into a situation with a BB gun or any of these types of toys, what kind of damage does that affect their eyes?
So whenever you're wearing contact lenses and you have an injury, it always can compound the problem. Sometimes, though, that little plastic contact lens can protect it a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Now, it's not supposed to be meant to be, eye protection itself, but it definitely can cause inflammation. You can lose your contact lens, it can dislodge it, lots of other things like that.
And then, yeah, you dislodge it. And lastly, just some good advice when we are out there getting those holiday gifts.
Okay. When we're out there, make sure you look at the age-appropriate nature of it. And also think about how your kids are going to be using them. Talk to them a little bit about safety. It doesn't take much to be able to go over with them.
Okay.
Now, one of the key things is don't forget, in particular, you might be buying age-appropriate, but how it's going to impact maybe younger kids or their accessibility to those toys.
Everybody else in the house. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Doctor. Great information, and you can always go to swi.com. Should you have any more questions, we'll be right back with more of the Morning Scramble.